Hello and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, my name is Brandy and this channel is all about horses and my journey with horsemanship. So today's video has a couple of different purposes, and I'm going to tell you right up front that it is going to be pretty boring for some people to watch. So there's going to be a lot of details discussed, and I am going to be reviewing the Pivo Silver. I'll talk about that in a little bit as we go. And I'm just going to take you through a normal session with my horse, okay? There are 0 edits throughout this entire video, and I did that because I want you to see exactly what I do. So right here, I'm starting my day off with some groundwork with this horse, and basically I'm sending her around me in a half circle. I roll her hindquarters, and then I ask the front end to come through. So this particular exercise, some people call it the half circle exercise. For me, I like this so much because I can work on my horse's hindquarters, and then I can also work on that front end, trying to get her to step across, and also going around me in a circle. There's so many different things that you can improve on while doing this exercise. And the reason that I like it so much too is, the reason I like groundwork is you can really check out and see where your horse is that day. As far as, like, my horse is really sloppy right here. And the nice part about doing a video like this, and I'm probably going to do these once every month or two, just to kind of watch my own progress and to see my horse's progress. Because the only way, like, I can feel it, but until I actually watch it, I don't feel like you get a full understanding for what's improved and, the changes that are made. So with that exercise, I will continue working on that and just getting it cleaner. As she rolls her hindquarters away, I want her to step around nice and neatly. I want her to stop her feet and be patient. I want her to move the front end nice and cleanly, and I want her to make a nice circle around me. Right now, I'm just going to adjust my girth a little bit. And as you could see, when I went to walk up to her, she was going to back up right away. This horse is very sensitive, and she is very eager to move. And I have to spend a lot of time working on keeping her feet still. This is Blossom, by the way. And Blossom she's 12 years old this year. She'll be 12 on May 10th, and she was born in 2010. So and I'll talk about her throughout the video, so I apologize if I'm like backtracking here, but Blossom is actually my favorite horse. Don't tell my other horses, but I'll tell you more about her throughout the video. So with my bridling process, I like to take my time with it, and this video is filmed on December 21st, 2021, and it is chilly when I took this video. So I want to say it was probably around 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So just to kind of give you an idea film-wise, with the Pivo, what temperatures it works in. But when I bridle up, I like to put my hand on my bit, and I'll actually hold it underneath the horse's chin for a moment just to let the heat from their body sort of warm that bit before I go to put it in their mouth. I'm not big on bit warmers or, putting my bits in a heated area or anything like that, because as soon as it hits the cold air, it's going to cool off. So I feel like putting it up to the horse's chin underneath is sufficient enough. And I like to take my time with bridling, so it works. Now here I am going to go ahead and get on her from the ground. I do like to use a mounting block as well. So I like my horses to know to stand for me if I'm going to get on from the ground, because you never know when you're going to be in a situation where you do need to get on from the ground, if you're out on the trail or something. And the mounting block, the nice thing with the mounting block is it keeps your saddle straight. It doesn't put any torque on the horse's back. And I think it's good for them to know to stand at a mounting block or fence or tailgate of your truck, whatever it is that you're getting on from. So, but once I am on my horse, I like them to stand for a moment before I walk them off. And when I do walk them off, they only walk off when I ask them to. So there's not much worse than, trying to get on a horse and having them trying to leave on you or be in a big hurry. So I like to wait for, at least a few seconds before I let them walk off. So I have not been, oh, and she could hear my miniature horses are on the other side of that wall, and they were running around and squealing at each other and making all kinds of noise. So she thought that was awfully scary. Now, when I filmed this video, gosh, I don't recall the last time I had been on Blossom. It seems like my horses are always the ones that are put on the back burner. I have had horses in training all summer and fall and really dedicated a lot of time to them and not a whole lot of time to my own horse. So I think I rode her maybe once in October, but that was the last time really. So she's pretty fresh. So, and that's another thing with doing groundwork is you can really see how your horse is feeling that day. So, when I was doing my groundwork with her, she looked a little tight and, wasn't very bendy, but she didn't look like she was really frisky. As you can see here, she's, her head was elevated a little bit. She's got some pep in her step, but she's not, and she's a little bit more spooky because of it. If I were worried about this horse wanting to buck or anything like that, I would have sent her around in a circle and just gotten at least a little bit of a canter out of her, just for my own sense of security. So, and I like doing a lot of groundwork because I think it's good for a horse's mind. Like I said, you can really see how they feel too, and I think it's a very good thing to do. And it's something that can be transferred anywhere. So if you go to an event and your horse is nervous, you can do a little groundwork. It's something familiar to the horse, and you don't have that risk of getting bucked off. What I'm not a fan of is when people take their horse out and lunge them and think they need to go circle after circle after circle of just letting their horse run and buck and be silly to get all that energy out before riding. The way I look at it is when your horse is attached to a line, they are working and they are to behave. So that's kind of my take on groundwork. Now here, what you're seeing is an incredibly crooked backup. And now throughout this video, this is nice because I am going to be critiquing my own riding. I feel like a person is their own best critic, and I'm going to be able to watch changes in myself by having this Pivo, and I'll be able to film a lot of my rides, which will be very, very nice. So because I can feel a change being made, but I can't necessarily, see it unless I'm looking in the mirror or something, and I don't want to be doing that when I'm riding. So being able to watch my ride after I've felt it is, to me, going to help me improve. So, and since I've been riding young horses, I feel like my riding has gotten a little sloppy, so being able to work on a little bit more advanced stuff is going to be nice now. Blossom also, the last handful of times I rode her, I know we're bareback, so I haven't been riding her in a saddle. So you're seeing such a fresh ride. I feel like we've got so many kinks to work out, a lot of loosening and softening to do. And so I like to walk my horses for at least 10 minutes every time I'm going to ride. And the reason I like to do this is because I feel like it helps warm up their muscles and their ligaments and their tendons, that gets the fluid in their joints moving, gets everything ready to be worked. I don't like my horses to be trotting off when their body's cold. Now, as you can see here, the hind end, as I'm asking her to move off of my right leg, her hind end is not moving over as well as the front end is. And so that's something that I'll definitely work on. But when I'm doing my leg yields, I really like to separate the horse into 3 parts, okay? So you have zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. Zone 1 would be if my leg is a little bit forward, okay? Zone 2 is if my leg is hanging straight down, and zone 3 is if my leg is back a little bit. And I kind of think of if I have to, ask my horse to move their body, say their front end, say I need to move their front end over, my leg would come forward to zone 1. And I would ask the front end to move over. If they're moving front end and hind end together, my leg can stay in zone 2 and just hang right down underneath my hip. If I need to move the hind end over a little, my leg will come back to zone 3 and ask that hind end to move over. So there's not a specific spot I'm asking, or there's not a specific spot that my leg is always at when I'm doing certain maneuvers. It depends on the situation, how my horse feels, what needs to move where. So, and just to verify too, because a lot of people don't understand how to use their legs when they ride their horse. You want to use your leg as if you're pushing your horse away. So if I want my horse's hip to go to the right, I would be using my left leg at zone 3 to ask that hip to go to the right. So now I started trotting my horse because I felt like she was plenty warmed up, and I just kind of keep it really simple at first. I let her go on a nice loose rein. I do not like a lot of contact on my horse's face. So I like to make sure that they're nice and loose in their back and they're able to trot out freely. I don't care where her nose is at. I don't care where her head is at this point. All I care about is what her body is doing. So right here, my right leg would come back a little bit just to sort of steer her to make that right hand turn. And right there, on a loose rein, she felt me sit down, and that's how I got that stop. So when I'm actively riding a horse, my energy is going with them. So my horse always tries to match my energy. And when my energy goes from, so imagine this. Let's say you have to go to the bathroom. The speed in which you walk to get to the bathroom, you're probably going to walk a little bit faster if you really need to get to the bathroom. So I look at it that way. That energy comes up in your body because you're going to go somewhere. But if you need to slow down, you just slow your feet down. So it's hard to explain that energy, but it's the same thing as walking or moving up into a jog. My body has that energy to it, and my horse feels that and wants to go with me. So when I take that energy away, when I just sit down and relax, my horse feels that, and she knows that she's supposed to match that energy. So that's how when I slow my horse down to a stop, you didn't see me pull on the reins at all, because she knew just from feeling my body that she could slow down. Now, I will take a hold of my reins at times. If I feel like my horse is speeding up beyond what my energy is saying, I will take a hold of the reins and slow her up. Right there, she moved off my leg pretty nicely. So I had my right leg at position 2 to ask her body to travel left. There she attempted to canter. I wasn't looking for a canter. She was anticipating that, and that's fine. I don't make a big deal out of that sort of stuff. All I do is just block her with my reins, and I'm like, nope, just keep on trotting. No big deal. If you were to make a big deal out of that sort of stuff, the horse will get really anxious about things. And I've learned that from making mistakes with it. I've caused horses to be anxious because, I let them know that it was the wrong answer. But after I started learning that it was better to show the horse what the right answer was and just focus on that and not just ignoring the wrong answer, my horses really started to kind of seek out learning, and they stopped getting anxious over doing the wrong thing. So as I'm going along here, I'm just really feeling this horse's body. Every time I feel her belly, say, shift to the left, or her shoulder drift inward, my left leg is correcting that. And same with the outside. If I feel her shoulder sort of push to the outside, my right leg would help straighten that back out. So this whole ride, my focus is I'm keeping my horse nice and balanced and relaxed from the tip of her nose to her neck, to her withers, to the end of her tail. I want everything to be straight, relaxed, balanced. And right there, I slow my energy down, and she slows down to match it. I'm pretty happy with how this ride is going. I do feel like I pitch forward quite a bit. And I think that's just the difference from going, so much bareback riding to riding with a saddle again. And right here, I'm asking her hip to come to the left while her front end stays straight. There, see that little lick and chew from her? She's really relaxing now. I like that. So, but Blossom had a lot of energy when we started. She really wanted to go. Now, if I would have been riding her bareback today, I definitely would have asked her for a canter prior to getting on her because, she's one that she can get a little frisky and I don't want to get dumped off. That backup was not straight at all. And then I did a sort of a quarter turnaround on the haunches when I walked her off. So there's a lot of wiggling with Blossom. So some of this I am asking for where, I ask for a leg yield or trying to get her hip to come in, that sort of stuff. But she is a very sensitive horse, and she's one of those horses that's like, oh, I know that maneuver. I'm going to do this. Like if she thinks that you want her to do something, or maybe you do a certain maneuver too many times, she'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this because I think this might be what we're looking for. And so I just have to just constantly reassure her, nope, we're just going straight, and ignore it. I like how her trot is nice and relaxed, and she did try to canter on me there. Blossom has had a really hard time with her right lead canter. Right there again, she's anticipating and wants to canter off on me. And again. So you can see I just block her. When she goes forward, when I'm not asking, I just block her and then I go right back down to a loose rein and I let her try again. I don't want my horse to break into a canter until I ask them for it. And there's very obvious cues when I am asking for it. I don't just, kick my horse into a canter. There's a specific way of doing it, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So I'm pretty happy with this Pivot Silver. If you're unfamiliar with what a pivot is, it's like a little contraption that you would set, like in my case, I have an iPhone. So I set my iPhone in it, and it has a sensor that follows the horse. Okay, I'm going to talk about what's happening here right now. When I went to back her up, I shifted my weight back, and then I started taking her into a turnaround. If you look at her right hind leg, it was just sort of spinning a circle or spinning into the ground, and the rest of her body was walking around that. I'll explain the next one. So anyway, with this Pivot Silver, it follows me around. So it doesn't have I'm not wearing like a sensor or anything where it knows to follow me. It simply knows what my horse's shape is like and follows the horse's shape. So that's why it kind of doesn't always stay on me, and it automatically zooms in. But like when my horse is leaving away from it, it doesn't necessarily track it all the time. And I do find that it tracks dark colored horses much better than light horses. But I am very happy with this. It's a great way for me to be able to watch my ride. You see that? She stopped and then, shifted over to the right. So, all right, now here, watch the left hind leg. I'm asking the front end to step around, and that left hind leg is staying still. And that's what I'm looking for. But yeah, so with this horse, I'm going to be working on a lot of just keeping her straight, making sure that when I ask her for a stop, we just stop and we stand there. We don't do any wiggling. Now here is the right lead canter. And I was very happy that she picked up the right lead because she sometimes has a difficult time with her right lead. She really likes to pick up the left. So in my cue for asking for a right lead canter would be, in this particular case, if I don't pay attention with my right leg, she will drift inwards and almost always get the wrong lead. So a lot of times I will ask for a leg yield. So I'll take my right leg and I'll make sure she has a nice bend in her body, move her body over. A lot of times doing it into like a corner or where I'm coming at a wall works really well because it just clarifies that we're going to be going right. See now right there, the pivot kind of lost me a little bit. Not bad, but so anyway, so with the now we're going to be going into a left lead canter. So my left leg would just sort of have my horse shaped. So I'm really not doing anything with it. It's just there to prevent her from leaning inward because they've got to be shaped in the direction that they're going in order to get the correct canter here. When a horse canters, it's a 3-beat gait, and the order of footfalls is the outside hind, the diagonal pair, and then the inside front. So when I go to change her lead here, see here, I'm going to ask for her to shape. So she moves over, and then my left leg comes back and asks for that correct lead. So when she struck off, it was the left hind and then the diagonal pair and then the right front leg. So that's the order. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm really proud of Blossom on this ride because she has tried really hard with her leads. So like I said, typically she will pick up a wrong lead now and again traveling to the right. The left is always really nice, but to the right she usually will have a little bit of trouble there. So that's really great. And the more a horse learns to shape and move off of leg and all that, the easier the leads become because you end up strengthening them on both sides evenly, and yeah, it makes a big difference. So now I'm just letting her go at a loose rein, which is what I like to do. Now when she was cantering, I had her reins a little tighter just because I didn't want her getting fast on me, and I wanted to have a little bit more control of her body. So that was a decent stop right there. Wasn't too crooked. So there I'm just asking the hind end to move over a little bit. And we'll see my right leg come back, and I just ask the hind end to step over. Now my left leg. Good. And I wait. Now my right leg comes back a little bit, asking the hind end to step over. And my left. So my goal with this is to get her to step over without moving the front end at all. And I would like to just have one hind leg step out. So now here I'm going to be doing a box exercise. So I'll explain what I do with this. I'm going to ask her to back up. I shift my weight back and open my legs off the horse when I back up. When my weight comes back, she knows to rock her weight back. Now I'm trying to keep this as straight as possible, and as you can see, it got a little crooked there, so we need to work on that. That's okay. That was a little better. Now, this box exercise is, I'm going to take her to the side. So we side pass over. And now I always want to hesitate. So I just take her one line over and I hesitate. And then I'm going to back her up. And then I'm going to wait and just hesitate for a moment. And now I'm going to take her the other direction. So we're going to side pass to my left. And now I am looking in the mirror. I have a mirror in front of me that's behind the camera. And I watch her front end and her hind end because it's important to feel, but you also have to watch sometimes. And now I bring her forward. So that's what I mean by a box. And there I really should have stopped and waited when I completed the box, but I didn't. It's just a fun little exercise that I made up where I have caused horses in the past to become wiggly with side passing because I used to go one way and then I would just stop for just a moment, not even seconds. I would just stop and then send them the other way right away. So when they went one way at a side pass, they anticipated going the other way. So now I just sort of mix it up and I add that going forward or backwards into it, and that really helped straighten them up in their side pass without wanting to wiggle. And I figure, I've figured out that the longer I wait between maneuvers, and I still rush too much, but the more I wait between maneuvers, the more patient my horse is, and the more they just wait for me to ask them what to do. So now here, you can see I'm sort of taking her nose to the side, just sort of laterally flexing her. I see this overdone a lot. So the important thing to me is that my horse's head stay balanced. I don't want her tipping her ear down to the side. I just want her to slightly bring her head to each side, but I don't want her to tilt her head so that one ear points towards the ground. I see that happen a lot. People will bring their horse's nose all the way back to their knee, and I'm just not a fan of that. Like right there, see how her left ear sort of tilted down? I'm not going to give to her when she tilts her head. I will give to her when her head is level again, her ears are level, and there's balance there. I don't want, like right there, that's pretty nice. So I release right away when their head is balanced. I also don't want their head to come down real low. I like their poll to be the highest point when I do this. But this is a really great thing to do just to get a horse nice and soft to giving to the bit. And it's a good thing to do too if their feet are a little bit anxious. It gives them something to think about without having to move their feet. But as you can see, when I ride, it's just there's nothing exciting happening here. It's just very, very basic stuff. And every ride is working on a lot of basics. There was a quote that I saw that said, beginner riders want to work on intermediate riding. Intermediate riders want to work on advanced riding. And advanced riders want to work on the basics. And I firmly believe that. I think the more you try to hone in the basics, the better your horse gets quicker. And the better you become as a rider because you become more aware of things. So I always am trying to refine the basics. So this will be really nice for me to video upcoming rides on Blossom, every couple of months or so, just to see how her and I have each improved. I think that's going to be a really good way of critiquing myself as well, so I'll know what I need to work on to get better. So all in all, with this Pivo Silver, I am really happy with how well it worked out. So I definitely would recommend this product. It was about $300, and that included the tripod and everything. So if you were on the fence at all about getting a Pivo, and for horses, you definitely want to go with the silver because it's better for tracking and such. So it's specifically designed for use with horses. Now, when I hop down, just to kind of let my horse know that we're just standing here, we're not in any kind of hurry. I'm just going to walk around, pick up all 4 feet. This is just this is just something that I'll randomly do. I'll pick up my horse's feet in the oddest places. I think it's really good for them to be super soft with their feet. And so yeah, I want them to know that could be any time that I go around and pick up their feet. And it's a great way for her to just stand here ground tied and relax at the end of a ride. So what I would love to know is, did you enjoy this type of a video? Is this something that you would like to see again? So when I have horses in for training, is this something that you think I should do, or I should just film the entire ride and talk through it? So make sure to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about that. So when I take my horse's bridle off, I make sure, right here, I'm in an arena. My horse can't go anywhere. Not a big deal. But if this horse were, really, really green, I would make sure that I've always got a halter around her neck, and I'm going to do that here with her. But, typically I'll just take her bridle off and then put the halter on because I know she's not going to go anywhere. But if I were at an event, 100% of the time, always make sure you have a hold of your horse and they can't get away from you, because it's very embarrassing when you have to go and track your horse down and, you're at the county fair or something. So at least I have my horse's halter around her neck and I can take a hold of her if I needed to. But like I said, she's not going to go anywhere with being in the arena. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. That's it for today's video, and I will be back soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.